I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to Torture Cast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the three-time world champion, San Francisco Giants. With hosts Chad King and Eric Nathanson. This is Torture Cast.
It's Friday, April 26th, 2024, and this is episode 299 of the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and sitting, about 1,000 miles away, I'd gander? I'd have to check on a map, see if that guess is accurate.
Yeah. No.
No, yeah. 842. Eric Nathanson,
Let's find
man.
it. I'll look it up. I'll look it up right now.
All right.
I'm right on the border of California. Not that matters. California's so long, but
oh yeah.
Anyways, we're getting storms. No, we're getting storms right now. How are things up there?
Oh, weather's fine. A lot of field work lately, hopping in the ocean, doing that thing. So I guess it's distracting me from the Giants a little bit. But that's
not horrible.
That's what we're here to talk about. And look, the Giants are now sitting at 12-14. But they're 3.5 games back of LA. LA has not been running away with the division, although they have won 4 in a row. And, they're in the mix, third place, but a game back of second place San Diego, 2.5 games back of the wild card. I mean, this point in April, those numbers don't really matter too much. But there is that old adage that you can't win the division in April, but you can certainly lose it. Like if you're the Chicago White Sox, you might have lost everything already. They've got an atrocious record. The Giants
They're 15 games back.
Yeah, in April. Oh, yeah. So anyway, they're playing for a pick. I actually hadn't been following them, and I was shocked when I saw their standings the other day. I was like, "What?" At the time, they were 3-20. I was like, 3-20? What? Although
the Marlins aren't much better. They're 6-20.
Yeah, and the Giants lost a game to them, but that's all right. That'll happen. That does harken back to, what was it, the 1988 season, I think. Anyway, I know I was in high school when the
Baltimore,
Orioles started with a 21-game losing streak to start the season. And I mean, I remember me and my buddies were talking about that in high school, going, "How? Like, how does a major league team lose 21 in a row to start a season? Just by luck, you should win one. Just like run into something. Another team has a bad game, something. But how do you lose 21 in a row?" But they did. So not quite as bad as that. But anyway, the Giants have not lost the West. They're not out of the wild card, whatever. But, there's some cause for concern. So I think the good news is, all right, they're one game away from 500. If one loss is a win, they're at 500. And to be honest, if you're playing 500 just to start the season in April, I'm not mad at that. I really am not. Because, even though each game counts just as much, I think this team has not found their identity yet. It's a bunch of different people and personalities smushed together, some of them at the last minute. And I think it's going to take time for them to gel. I still think that this roster is built much better than last year. I still think they have more talent than last year. And if the health stays reasonably okay, which we'll talk about a little bit later, I still think this team is a wild card contender and an 85, 86, 87 win team. I mean, has anything in the beginning of the season really alarmed you? Or are you like, okay, 500 and a few games back, whatever. They're just kind of treading water right now.
I don't see any reason for alarm just yet either. I'm with you on that. I mean, they've got some bullpen kinks to work out. That's obvious. But, what team doesn't in April? Certain guys are not hitting, or, Yaz didn't do well for a while, and then he went on a tiny little streak to get himself over 200. Tyro was struggling at the plate, but, he's turned it around at times. So, things are concerns, but nothing is sound the red alert alarm. You said, they're right there in the thick of it for the wild card. You can't lose the. I totally agree. You can't win a division in April, but you can lose it. And the wild card, you could totally fall back out of it at this point, and they're not doing that. The Giants are going to hang around. So I think just, getting the bullpen shored up and putting together good innings. They're not doing that at the plate. They're getting one guy on, two guys. Oh my God, just happened last game. Bases loaded, nobody out, nobody scores.
Yeah.
And you got to shore up those kinds of things. And I think they'll click as a team as it goes on. They seem to like each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all pulling for Lee when he's doing stuff, but there's still a bunch of strangers. It's still some time to get your sea legs. Jorge Soler has 4 homers. Chapman has 4 homers, so they're contributing, but they're not like setting the world on fire. They're both hitting 228.
Yeah.
So you're kind of getting what you thought you would. You just, things are not combining to get those wins that you need just yet. And I'm glad that it's not that everybody's struggling, but the whole middle of the pack is just that. It's the middle of the pack, and the Giants need to separate themselves as time goes on. So no, I'm not sounding the alarm just yet at all.
No, it's. I'm not the dog with the coffee cup in the fire, but it's
Right.
it's not quite like that. But I guess I would have hoped that this team could have pushed themselves above 500 for the month. And, it looks like that's not going to happen. Yeah, technically, if they swept the Pirates, they would be back up above 500. So maybe that still happens. But, yeah. So my question to you, and I think Willie will be joining us momentarily. What is your biggest surprise so far? And now these are loose questions. It could be a surprise about the stadium, the team, a player, management, whatever you want. But I want to ask you, what is your biggest surprise so far? And then your biggest disappointment so far. And I know pre-show there was one obvious disappointment, and we'll bring that up. But other than that,
well, I'll say my biggest surprise so far is Nick Ahmed. He's the kind of guy that you thought, well, come the end of April, early May, the Giants might already cut bait with him and bring him Luciano. And Ahmed's been playing pretty well at short. I mean, he doesn't have the best arm, but he's putting the bat on the ball at times. Tomahawks the crap out of it. I love watching when he can get up to that high pitch. So Nick Ahmed is absolutely my biggest surprise so far. Who's your biggest surprise?
Right now it's actually got to be Michael Conforto. I know that he's kind of tailed off a little bit, but I just was really shocked at how strong he came out of the gate. I mean, this was the player that we were looking for, and especially after he accepted, he didn't opt out of his 2-year deal. A lot of people were surprised by that, thinking he was going to go for more money. So there was a reason he wanted to stay here, and maybe that had to do with comfort. Maybe that had to do with he liked the area and the city. I'm not entirely sure. But 5 bombs. He's leading the team in home runs and RBI so far, 3rd in average. I mean, he's kind of, you could argue he's their offensive MVP in the month of April so far. So I'd say he's not, way above where I'd expect him to be, but he's definitely been a big surprise right now.
Yeah, I agree. That's a pleasant one because he came back from injury, and so he's healthier this year than he was last year.
Yeah.
The one guy neither of us mentioned is hitting 300, Patrick Bailey.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just written up as one of the breakout stars of this year. You look on Fangraphs and Baseball Reference, he leads the position players in WAR, only behind Logan Webb and Jordan Hicks at the moment on Baseball Ref. I believe only behind Logan Webb on Fangraphs. So Patrick Bailey, I mean, he's just kind of stepped up so far. Now, last year he started off strong too, and he faltered, but he's just not striking out as much this year. He's willing to take walks, so that's also another surprise, I thought. It's been fun to watch him. And that 4-for-4 day on his bobblehead day, I mean, those are things dreams are made of. Splash hit that didn't splash. I mean, that was his day. That was so. I don't think I have to ask before I go to disappointments, but I have to ask: have you ever seen one land right in a kayak like that? I don't think I'd ever seen that before.
Never seen it before, and according to all of the articles I read afterwards, no one can count on find any other time this happened. So they think with most certainty that it's the first non-splash splash hit.
That's so weird.
Because
the ball never got wet.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just
landed.
The
only splash hit. That's so crazy.
Well, and thank God didn't hit that woman in the head or something. It like landed right in her lap area, and she just picked it up and was like, "Hey, look at this."
That would have been crazy had it smacked her.
Could you imagine that?
Man.
She's just out there having a good time. Then boom, lady dies from a home run ball hitting a Cubby Cub. And then the next season they put nets up over the pavilion.
Right. She would have turned into one of those highlights like they showed on the video board at Naked Gun when like the tiger mauls the guy in second base.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hadn't even thought of the possibilities until just now.
God.
Oh,
yeah, the chances of that are 1 in a
crazy.
million, but
they have to be.
And then
that was amazing.
I didn't ask you for co-surprise. That was definitely my hitter. I'd say my pitcher. And again, this could be any surprise. I just have to give an honorable mention to Jordan Hicks. The guy has definitely surprised me. He is this kind of former starter, kind of failed at it, became a fireballing, reliever, and now he's converted back to a starter. And obviously the Giants saw something in him. Now, is this sustainable for 6 months? Maybe not, but the results already surprise me. I mean, he's sitting at a 1.61 ERA, 2-0. His WHIP is under 1. His batting average against is 170. Yeah, he's not throwing 100 in the middle of the game, but what's really unique about him is that he's kind of hovering around 94, maybe 95. But when he wants to or needs to, he can hump up to 99 on a particular at-bat or pitch. And that's what's really cool about that, because guys like Logan Webb, who are obviously kicking ass right now too, they don't have that ability. And there's just another extra weapon in his belt that he can utilize at any time, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great call. Jordan Hicks has been fun to watch so far. And if this is just the beginning of him turning into a starter, he might be something in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
It's impressive. You're right. Look at that. 28 innings, 5 starts. So he's almost at 6 innings every start. That hasn't seemed to be a problem either, fatigue or anything like that. So I'm with you. That's a great honorable mention. Jordan Hicks has been a very big surprise because I like you, was skeptical about that. And so far, so good.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's hope that he doesn't break.
Okay, so the elephant in the room for biggest disappointment is Blake Snell. I mean, the guy signs this, contract at the end of spring training. He misses his first start and then finally comes back. And so far, I want to make sure I read this right. His ERA is 11.57. He's thrown 11 2/3 innings, given up 18 hits and 15 earned runs. He's walked 5 and he's only struck out 12. Well, I say only because he's only had 11 2/3 to try to strike out that. 3 starts and the guy's given up 15 runs. Last season, he gave up 42 runs all season. So that's an issue at this point. So, I mean, is this – so I have to ask you, is this a disappointment that we should think might be a disappointment? Or, does maybe this little IL stint with this adductor strain, right the ship for Blake Snell and we won't be worried about him in 3 months?
This is hard. This is hard because we know the guy didn't have spring training. Okay, fine. I think a lot of us Giants fans were giving him a pass for the first start, the second start. Getting into the third start starting to get annoying now, right? And so going into the fourth start, we were kind of like, all right, this is it. I mean, put up or shut up. You're a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. You can't just keep laying an egg like this every week. I mean, like, look at Logan Webb, right? He had a horrible spring in terms of his stats. He had a little bit of a bump in the beginning of the year, and now he's got 18 innings of scoreless pitching. His ERA is down to 2.33, and he looks like the Logan Webb of old. No problem. Now he has this adductor strain. And there's 2 sides to this coin, right? One, if that injury had anything to do with his poor performance, I think that's the best case scenario, because that means that was the cause. He's going to heal. He'll come back. He'll be better, presumably. But what I'm also afraid of is that teams have a knack, and the Giants are one of them, especially with Farhan at the helm, to have little phantom injuries, right? To deal with other issues that might be lingering, whether it be, personal or mental or whatever it is. And I don't know if there's anything to do with that. Like, the Giants are just so pissed they just put him on the shelf. I don't think so, because Larry Baer was on KNBR and he said he got the call the night before saying, yeah, he's got this thing flaring up, his adductor. we think we got to put him on the 15-day right now. So I don't think there's any of that obfuscation going on. But so far, it's a really big disappointment. And when you kind of do a Google search here, you see some other teams going, whew, we dodged a bullet there. There's like this Yankees blog, Yanks Go Yard, going, oh, Giants got screwed on this. Dodgers saying, Dodger enemy Scott Boras strikes again. There's all these articles out there talking about how they all dodged a bullet. And yeah, if Snell doesn't come back and immediately right the ship, yeah, this is an abject failure. An abject failure. It's way too early to call it that, but man, $30 million and a guy that we imagine maybe having a slow start because he usually is a slow starter, but then he picks up and heats up at the end of the year. But we were imagining October, right? That's what you and I were picturing. F his regular season stats, F his first 2 month stats. Who is he in October? That's what counts. So I guess if the Giants can make it to the playoffs and let's say he rolls in July and August and September, I'm okay with the deal. Whatever. Even if he has a 5 ERA, but if he had a 2.5 ERA the last 3 months of the season rolling into the playoffs, I'm okay with that. But yeah, if this becomes a lingering issue and he just is not going to be the pitcher that he was even close to last year, it's an abject failure and it sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you that if it just turns it on at the end of the season, it turns into something good. I'm good with that, especially once they get Cobb and then Robbie Ray. I mean, it'd be a little easier if the starting rotation wasn't where it is right now. No offense, Keaton Wynn, I mean, he's shown some flashes. He just hasn't gotten the job completely finished. Yeah. Cal Harrison has also pitched decently at times, but gotten hit a little bit. So you would think that the rotation can carry Snell's absence in the time being. But the problem is they're 0-5 in games that Snell would have started this year. Yeah. They had Walker as the opener on Wednesday. And, Walker, obviously he didn't have a problem. He had 1 inning of scoreless work, but Jelly served up and yada, yada. And then Snell being 0-3. So, I agree. If it continues this way, it's a total failure. But if somehow he can bounce back, to be a part of the late stretch, I mean, who knows if it's phantom. It's just very weird because Snell said he's obviously disappointed. Quote, I felt really good this week throwing, even during the bullpen. I was like, man, I feel really good. The ball was coming out good, and I made some adjustments that are going to be good for me. Okay, end quote. Okay, well, then suddenly he finds out he's hurt. You know what I mean? Like, how did everything feel great coming out? And then just the night before, something flares up. Like, does he have a say in what he gets to do, or is this unwritten rule right now for them that they're going to be as gentle with him as possible through the first few months of the season? That might be the case. And so, I think it's a little early for Yanks Go Yard to sit there and say, boy, we dodged a bullet there. I actually just thought about it. I think I was on the Yanks Go Yard podcast 10 years ago. Talking about a Yankees-Giants series. It might have been that series with the Naked Cowboy in New York, if you remember that in Times Square.
Oh, my God, I do now.
Yes. Yeah, when I say Naked Cowboy, I think it's 13. It might be 14 that they were there when they were playing the Yankees because it was a whole thing. That was such a great road trip when they used to make the rookies do things. Anyways, Snell is the obvious disappointment at this time. I'd love it if he could bounce back, like you said, down the stretch. We'll have to see. It's a wait and see. I think it's an incomplete at this point to call him a complete complete failure, but it is disappointing how it started. And I got to say, Chapman and Soler are kind of disappointing to me a little bit, just because it doesn't seem like either of them has hit a groove yet.
Yeah.
I'm not holding anything against them. They're both, like I said, they're both hitting 228. They got 4 bombs each. So it's not like they're doing horribly. And then Austin Slater, I'm disappointed in the front office. You got Elio Ramos down there in AAA beating the crap out of the ball. He's a right-handed outfielder. And then you got Austin Slater, who's getting picked off at second base without even sliding, who's throwing to the wrong base when he needs to be hitting the cutoff man, who's hitting 115. And that's only because he got an infield hit in the last game. I mean, what are we doing with him still? I I don't get the fascination with Austin Slater. It's time for Ramos. Slater, honestly, is the biggest disappointment. The fact that the fourth outfielder is this crappy. I mean, you want a backup outfielder, fine. Hit 250, that's great. Hit 215, that's great. But 115, I've had enough of Slater. I think he's my biggest disappointment so far.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He's been a bitter disappointment so far. Plenty of time to quote make it up, but he's got to catch fire. It's
plenty of time. We've been saying that for 5 years.
I meant for this
5
season,
years
right?
on Austin.
Like he could double his
that's
average in less than a week, right? At this point, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he will.
I know, but it's just, don't you feel like we've been saying this about Austin Slater every year? Like, oh, he's about to get it, and then he never gets it. Yeah. Oh, he's about to get it, and then he never gets it.
Yeah, he's been really good at coming off the bench against left-handers, but he's just not been good at just starting in the outfield. He's just not. So, yeah, 115 is not a good start. For me, the biggest disappointment, again, aside from the Snell issue, has got to be the Giants' bullpen. It is atrocious right now. Not every person in the bullpen, but as a collective. Right now, the bullpen is dead last in the majors. With a 5.92 ERA. I mean, they're almost giving up 6 runs every 9 innings as a collective unit through 28 games, 26 games we're at now. I mean, we're approaching a quarter of the season, Eric, right? We're like a fifth of the season in, just about. And they got the dead last ERA. It's just, it was supposed to be one of their strengths. Camilo Duvall's been fine. Walker's been pretty good. The Rogers brothers, here and there. But man, as a whole, they have just crapped the bed, and I don't know what they're going to do about it. If maybe this is just growing pains because some of the younger guys are coming in to like mop up when they're down or up by a lot, and that's where a lot of the runs are coming from. So the optics can be a little weird. They have given up a lot of these runs. Like, for example, the 17-1 Arizona game, right? That was a bullpen game. They had an opener. So they had 8 innings of relievers, including Fitzgerald at the end. That was a
Snell game.
Yeah, that was the Snell game, exactly. But, he didn't pitch, so they started with the opener. They have like 8 innings. No,
that was Snell pitched that game. He pitched. He pitched like 3 1/3.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I was thinking of the next start.
So many in the ball. You're thinking about the last game.
Of the last game. Yeah, right. No, you're right.
Snell That's even worse than the 17-1 game with Snell, but I digress.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. Snell gave up, 6 or something like that in that 6 and less than 5. But the bullpen still gave up like 11, right, for the rest of the game. So there's been big games like that, which, kind of tweaks the numbers a little bit unfairly, I guess you could say. But I don't know. That's been my biggest disappointment so far. And I think the Giants could be a game or two above 500 with an average bullpen right now. That's been the biggest.
I agree. I'm concerned with the bullpen usage as well. I don't understand what we're doing with Taylor Rogers. Why is Taylor Rogers coming into mop-up duty when Eric Miller's getting high leverage situations?
Yeah.
Are they just like fascinated with Miller being able? I had no idea the guy could hit 100, and then I saw him do it last week, and I was like, okay, great. But Taylor Rogers, still, his stats are better. Everything points that he's better, and he's not getting used in high leverage situations right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not even a fan of the way Melvin's been using the bullpen. It's not like they're getting put in a position to succeed. So I'm with you. That's a huge disappointment.
Yeah. So, they got time to settle down. It's just it's frustrating right now. Yeah. Keaton Wynn, again, been a nice surprise so far. 3.54 ERA, not doing too bad. Kyle Harrison, look, he's young, and we know that there's going to be ups and downs. He's sitting at a 5 flat ERA right now. Yeah, like you said, Eric Miller, he's at 6. Snell, 11.57. Tyler Fitzgerald's ERA is 13.5. That's actually better than a couple other people. It's better than Luke Jackson.
Yeah.
I know. What are you going to do? Mitch White.
I mean, these are numbers that should come down as the time goes on. But Mitch White did not have a good introduction to the Giants.
No, he actually went to my high school, so that's why I kind of keep an eye on him. He's a Bellarmine graduate. Yep. So he went to Santa Clara University afterwards. He was actually drafted by the Dodgers, and then he's bounced around up and down the minors, and so. The Giants picked him up after he was DFA'd, and then he was brought up. So there's a little interview with him, and the Giants are the team he rooted for growing up. So being from San Jose, but kind of like 1 inning, 2 earned runs, a home run, and a walk so far. So, 1 inning. What are you gonna do? So hitting wise, like you just said, you kind of went over some of the big guys, Chapman, Soler. We hit on Slater. You talked about Ahmed. We haven't really talked about Lee. We did last podcast, but that was almost 3 weeks ago. Lee can hit in the major leagues right now. Now, at the time, he was still slightly above 300. We knew that was probably going to come down into the high 200s. He's at 269 right now, but he's approaching 100 at-bats. He's got 2 bombs, a few doubles. I know this guy was touted as having a lot of gap-to-gap power. He hasn't really shown that yet, so that's only 5 extra base hits. But at the same time, he's adjusting to the new pitching, so we'll see what happens. Only 9 strikeouts and 93 at-bats. For a major leaguer, that's really good. That's striking out, just under once every 10 at-bats. So, nowadays it's like guys strike out every 2 at-bats. So, now he's been pretty good.
Soler struck out 26 times in 92 at-bats, and he struck out 9 in 93. Soler struck out 17 more times than Lee. That's kind of what I love about him. Melvin even mentioned it. It's amazing how much contact he makes when the ball is in the zone. It's hard to get Lee to swing and miss. But you're right. I'd love to see a little more power.
Yeah, it's a little more power. But as a collective unit, they're kind of average right now. They got 11th in batting average in the major league, 16th in on base, 21st in home runs. Runners in scoring position, 21st at 236. And your favorite, with 2 outs, they are 10th with a 250 batting average. So a little bit better with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. But it has been very frustrating at times to see them have those ducks on the pond and just not able to get them in. And I don't know why the Giants have always struggled in that statistical category for years. It's very strange.
It's just so weird.
I know.
We also didn't give any credit Lamont Wade Jr.
Oh, well, he's leading the team.
Right. He leads baseball, I believe, in on-base percentage, 471. The guy's walked 11 times and only 70 plate appearances, which is impressive. And he's putting bat to ball. 21 hits and 57 at-bats, hitting 368. I mean, he has been their best hitter. There's somebody else who I'd love to see get a little more power. I mean, he's got 4 doubles already this season, but you could just imagine him putting a couple more over the wall. He'd be a little bit more of a contributor.
Yeah, I just, at this point, because he is pretty much sitting against lefties, he just doesn't have a lot of at-bats. He doesn't qualify right now for like kind of league leaders. He's got 57 at-bats right now. But you're right, with a lot of walks, though. So 68 plate appearances, not too bad. 18 strikeouts, pretty high, but he's hitting 368. His on-base is almost 500. OPS is almost 1,000.
Right.
Again, though, you look at his splits against lefties, and he's just really weak. And I guess that's why Melvin's just going to continue to play to his strengths. And that's it, Oh,
can't say blame him. Put him in a position to succeed. Wade is showing that he will succeed if he can.
All right, sorry for that pause there. I think we got Willie on the line. Willie, you there?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Willie?
Good. Sorry, I was late. We're doing a little project in the backyard, and we took a little trip to Home Depot and did not give ourselves enough time, considering I should have known it was going to take forever because we had to talk to a guy, ask for suggestions, and then wait for them to bring stuff around to us. So just getting back in. So
well, my question to you is: did you pick up any repair supplies for the Giants bullpen or Blake Snell in particular?
for Blake Snell, yeah. Honestly, that not surprising, and maybe not the worst thing that you give him a little more time because he doesn't look like he's ready to go yet. Yeah. So, really unfortunate to spend that much money on somebody who's apparently going to pitch half a season for us. But if the second half is amazing, we'll probably forget all about this, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The key here is we need to weather this storm because right now I would say our pitching situation is a storm. We're in the middle of a storm right now. It doesn't look good. I looked at some weird stats today. Somebody had posted something. We're last in strikeouts or something like that, very close to anyway. And almost last in whiff percentage, which means we're not getting a lot of swings and misses. So, the good news is there's been a couple of pleasant surprises. But I would say Harrison has looked like he is close, and he's going tonight. So he's giving us a chance to win. It's just right now our bullpen is absolute trash until we get to Duvall. So yeah, that's a little bit of an issue.
So we had brought up several things. One of them being the bullpen. Here they are, dead last in ERA. I didn't know that. For all really, yeah, 5.96 ERA, dead last in the majors. Their starters are 18th, so they're kind of in the average. So overall, pitching, they're 27th in ERA because the bullpen's taken them down so far. But we started with 2 questions to the podcast, and I posed these to Eric. What is your biggest surprise so far? Now, this could be players, the team, a decision, whatever you want. So Eric went with Nick Ahmed, and I went with Conforto and Hicks.
I think Jordan Hicks didn't surprise me because I saw him in spring training, and the guy was throwing like 95 right out of bed and then heating up to 100s in spring training. He looked fantastic when I saw him there. So I wasn't really shocked by him. I would say Ahmed's offense has been surprising, but it also just feels like an outlier. So that wasn't a big surprise to me, just because I don't think it's going to stick. He's having a great start, yes, but it's not going to stick, in my opinion. I think Conforto, that's a good answer. Conforto's a very good answer. I'm very, very surprised to see him coming out the gate looking as hot as he has. And then I guess the other one would be, which actually has been fixed as of recently, but Patrick Bailey's lack of defense early on in the season. He just didn't look like he was throwing the ball very well, but that's actually come around as of late. So those will probably be the biggest surprises so far. Everybody else is falling into what I would consider to be their means. Those would probably be it. And then Cobb going down, I was surprised by that. He seemed like he was coming back, dude.
Yeah,
he wanted to be ready so bad.
Yeah, he did. We're talking really late May now, so yeah, we'll see what happens there. He had a little bit of a setback, and then we beat the dead horse already. That is Blake Snell, and he was the kind of the elephant in the room for the biggest disappointment. But as far as biggest disappointment, I went with the bullpen and Eric. Sorry, who did you go with again? I forget.
Well, I settled on Austin Slater.
Oh yeah, Slater. Yeah,
Austin Slater.
Well, Slater has looked a little lost, but I'd say Yastrzemski is my biggest disappointment because I was really hoping he was gonna start semi decently, and he started the absolute worst possible way he could. He's had a couple. He's barreled up a few recently, and I think Melvin must see something in him that we're not seeing, work ethic or resolve or something, because he keeps throwing them out there. And we do know he's a new parent, so maybe that has something to do with it. It could be a lack of sleep going on, but right now he just looks lost. He looks like he's popping a lot of balls up. He's doing what he always did, which is being very selective, but sometimes watching pitches go right by for third strikes,
down the middle.
Yeah. Like you shouldn't be guessing with 2 strikes, right?
Right, it's a fastball. Right, you play you sit fastball and adjust curve on a 3-2 count. You don't sit there looking curveball to freeze on a fastball. Oh, that is my biggest frustration.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. But it's just his style, and I don't know. I guess maybe we have to live and die with it. But maybe we should just. At some point, he feels like the guy who might become a little bit redundant halfway through the season if he can't pick it up, right? Because we have other options in the outfield. We have other options waiting to come up in the outfield.
Well, when you think of the beginning of a season, right, he's got a limited number of at-bats. You always think, kind of like the old Kevin Costner line, like a dink here, a bleeding grounder here, and suddenly you're not a 250 hitter, you're a 300 hitter. Sometimes the BABIP can screw you. Sometimes you're lining out a lot. But that's why I like Baseball Savant, because you could look at his barrel and exit velocity and all those things. He's basically poor in all of those categories right now. So it's not like Austin Slater's, lining out to the shortstop every other game, right, or hitting balls to the wall. That's not what's happening. So everything looks really, really poor there. So yeah, Austin Slater. And by the way, you were saying something that Eric and I actually touched upon and agreed with when we were talking about Blake Snell. It was kind of like, okay, look, he didn't have spring training. He came out, crapped the bed. He's got this injury. Hopefully that's the reason for his poor performance. But if he comes out, let's say he's got a 5, 6, 7 ERA for the entire year, but he comes out in July, August, and September, or even just August and September, and just on fire, right? Like sub 3 ERA, just killing it and heading into the playoffs. The Giants grab a wild card position, and he's heading in. Then it's worth it because that's where we need him.
Yeah,
we need him in the playoffs. So it's like screw April, screw May. As long as they make the playoffs, and Blake Snell's not the cause of them missing the playoffs. If he's hot going in, which he traditionally is, he's a second half pitcher. Then that's fine. It's water under the bridge. But
we'll all forget. We'll all forget at that point. Now. We are a little bit weirdly this season built for a late season run because of the fact that Cobb, Ray, and Snell now apparently will all be coming back. It's just such a weird way to build a baseball team. But the problem is you're still in a division with now the Diamondbacks being contenders too. 3 other legit teams who are in our division who are going to be finishing pretty well. And then you're talking wild card. There's plenty of good teams in the National League. So it's not any kind of, even likelihood at this point that we will be one of those teams that's able to make that late season push. So I don't know. It's early enough that we're not in panic mode yet, but this didn't feel like the start we were looking for.
No, we were okay. Like if you said the Giants are going to be 500 in April, and if that's where they end up here with a few games to go, that's okay. They can't lose you can't win the division in April, but you can lose it. And we were referencing like the Chicago White Sox right now. They've already lost in the division,
I know.
right? So, the Giants are not in that position. Even though the Dodgers have won 4 in a row, they haven't torn away from the division quite yet. So everything's still in play. The Giants are right there with everyone else. So that's not a concern. The concern is, bullpen's got to right this ship. Blake Snell's got to get on here. Slater's got to do something, or they call up, Rios. It's just one of those things. But you
mentioned the Dodgers not running away yet, but I think we all kind of know the Dodgers are an inevitability, right?
They're like
the longer over 162 games, they basically have proven, and it's not like they've fallen off
for 10 years in a row or whatever, except for 1 year.
Right. Yes. And lately they've proven that 100 wins is.
Yeah, and the way they're playing right now, Betts and Otani at the top of the order, it's like, how are they not winning more games? Pitching,
I know.
Their downfall.
It's been pitching,
But even that though too, it's like it's crazy to me that they just keep finding like another top tier guy. Like right now they what's his face is stepping in as the new ace or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, so you keep finding him. All right, congratulations. It's rather annoying to be a Giants fan watching it happen, but it's just at this point I just pencil them in for 100 wins.
Yeah,
and I go, okay, what else? What can we do around that? And in a way, maybe this was Farhan actually did. We as much crap as everybody talked about him in the offseason, but the end of the offseason he did end up having a fairly good one, but it all hasn't really bared out yet. You know what I mean? We have not seen the fruit yet of that. So we're waiting patiently, but I still got to watch all these games, you guys. And it's getting a little frustrating when you're tuning in and you're just like, oh, all right. And we had the 2 games against the Mets that looked great. And I was like, man, it'd be cool to sweep, right?
Right.
No. That can't happen. We can't have nice things. Not only that, we're just going to get trounced in the 3rd game. So that's just kind of how things are right now. It's going to be hard to put together a win streak with this squad.
Yeah, how long is it going to take them to get their first sweep? Like you said, they were right there on the cusp. But I don't think it's going to happen this week. Joey Bart will make sure that.
No, we don't have consistency in our pitching staff at all, and that's the problem. Like,
the
lineup is not going to go out and score 5 to 6 every single night, right? So the nights that the other team does, we are not going to win those games. We haven't really had a breakout offensive performance yet. Like we've had some signs here and there, but there hasn't been a game where we've gotten 12 runs or whatever. We've lost by a lot of runs already, but what was the Diamondbacks game? 17 or
17 to 1.
17 to 1.
Yeah. So it's happened to us, but we haven't trounced another team yet. But also there's some guys that I expect will start helping that out. Soler hasn't really started to actually do much yet. Chapman had a couple of streaks of looking real awesome, and then now he's kind of reverted back a little bit. Conforto can't stay ungodly hot forever. So, I mean, these guys, and Estrada's 230 hitter right now. So, I mean, these guys aren't necessarily going to do this for the whole season. I think at some point they will break out. It's just can't wait that much longer.
Yeah, the Giants are they've been outscored by 20 runs. Granted, 16 of them you can point to at that Arizona game, but the fact of the matter is,
that's the most runs the D-backs have ever scored against the Giants. That surprised me. I mean, they've been around like 25 years now.
Yeah.
And in Arizona, Arizona's like light air. It's good for hitting, but
yeah, but that was in San Francisco. Oh yeah, from the previous years. Yeah, of course. You expect that would have happened at some point, but
right. That's what's kind of bonkers about it.
Yeah, you just mentioned it.
Yeah, they did it here.
Eric, obviously we talked about Alex Cobb. He had a little bit of a setback. Hopefully he's going to be back in late May, but the Giants did trade Joey Bart to the Pirates in exchange for right-hander Austin Strickland back on April 3rd. And a lot of us were happy for Joey Bart, to be honest, because the guy just, he had his chance here, and he just never took the reins. He just didn't. And he never gave the Giants a reason to, they gave him so many extra chances, but he didn't give them a reason to force him into the starting lineup. And obviously they have guys that they have now. I mean, they even have Tom Murphy, who's not hitting so well as the backup, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah.
He's under 100
He's
right
under
now.
100 right now, so,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not so good. I might take Joey Bart over a Tom Murphy right now, but, it's not like Joey Bart was tearing the cover off the ball for the last 4 years or whatever since he's been in the organization. But hey, look, we were all happy for him. He needed a change of scenery, whatever. And he goes out and hits a home run in his first at-bat with the Pirates. And since he's hit 3 bombs, he's hitting over 300, and he's fitting right in with the Pirates. And it's funny that you said that Joey Bart would prevent the Giants from sweeping the Pirates this weekend. That was kind of silly.
He's going to take it upon himself to make sure that doesn't happen.
No, he's not technically their starting catcher, though, right?
No, he's limited plate appearances so far.
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, if he's hitting the ball that well, he might find his way in there at some point.
I just have to wonder,
highlights.
Yeah, is this the real Joey Bart, or is this just one of those hot streaks when you're with a new team?
Probably a hot streak.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I know the Giants totally jerked him around and really didn't treat him well, but he hadn't proven much either. So this is the kind of hot streak we were looking for. But 3 home runs and he only hit 11 with the Giants. That's just weird.
Yeah. Well, so okay, I don't know if I agree with jerked him around. I think we gave him a pretty fair shake for a while.
2020. 2020.
Yeah, no, you're right. There was definitely a period in there where he probably was put into the position a little too early. And then there was the other thing where it was like anointed by everybody, which is not a good thing to do to a young player who's following Buster Posey, right? So, he could go to Pittsburgh and be kind of a surprise to them, right? And that's fun, and that's a better place, I think, mentally for him to be. But I'm still rooting for the kid. Now, just have a bad series and then go back to doing it again and later.
What's really strange about his stats? I didn't notice this. I was looking at his totals with the Giants, and like you noted, he had 11 home runs and like 463 or 457 at-bats with the Giants, right? And he's already got 3 in 23 at-bats or 26 at-bats with the Pirates. Those 11 home runs were all hit in 1 year. Did you know that?
Oh, wow.
Last year, he had 87 at-bats, 0 home runs. 2020, 103 at-bats, 0 home runs. 2021, he was injured. He only had 6 at-bats. 2022, 261 at-bats, 11 home runs. That's bizarre,
well, that's why I felt so bad. We hadn't seen him in a home run in a while.
Wow.
I did see him, and Chad, I think you've seen him too, in BP from very close up. And he was a very impressive BP hitter. The ball sounded different off his bat.
He might have been the best BP hitter.
Right? Yeah.
And
I remember too watching a feature that they had on NBC that was about the Giants catchers and their training methods and things like that. And it was pretty clear in that little segment that Joey Bart was getting like the star treatment from the catching coaches. They were treating him like the guy who had the most natural talent. And he did, clearly. But it just never translated onto the field. And like you said, that's a wild stat. 0 home runs. He's supposed to be your next big guy. 0 home run. You can't have that. No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he never hit expectations. And like was mentioned, following Buster might have been too big of a thing. And now that he's got a fresh start, he might do something else. And I'm with you. More power to him. I hope, other than this weekend, Joey Bart just tears the cover off the ball.
Yeah, no, he's backing up Henry Davis now. That's a very comfortable spot to be,
well,
right?
I mean, the weird thing is, you think about it, if they had held on to Bart, then they could have used the Tom Murphy money for more bullpen help. But who's to say Bart would be any better than Murphy's been for the Giants? I mean, getting out of the Giants, it's probably one of those cases of a guy needing a fresh start. It really is. Mm-hmm. I mean, we thought that about Mac Williamson, and he never caught on anywhere. But a guy like Joey Bart, he's just got too much talent to handle, to just harness it and just tamp it down. So, fresh start might be the thing.
I will say this, though, too. You guys catch the story of Kirk Cousins getting mad that they drafted a quarterback after making a trade for him?
Yeah, they got Penix or whatever from we
Washington. Did draft Patrick Bailey the very next year after drafting
Bart. Bobby Evans drafted Bart, and then Farhan drafted Bailey.
Sure. But I mean, Bart. Imagine being Bart, and you're like, really?
I agree.
We're getting another guy. Like, I thought I was the guy, and that could have had a psychological effect on him.
I love the Niners.
What you got to do. You got to trade Justin Fields to get him out of the building so that you can start the best offense in the NFC.
There you go.
Oh, my God. Well, look at the Niners. They need
the Bears
O-line, maybe some D-line, whatever. And what do they get? A wide receiver. Okay. I guess that means we were like, someone's gone.
Debo is probably gone. Yeah.
Probably Debo, but anyway.
Oh, wait. So the Bears got, what's his name? They got the number 1 guy.
Caleb Williams. And then
they also got a wide receiver too. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Eric's a happy guy.
Oh, I'm so excited. You have no idea. Championships, they're coming.
Okay.
Just not next year, but maybe in a little while.
Well, I mean, just because a rookie's never won. I mean, maybe it's time a rookie finally won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
There you go. I know. There you go. Look, if it could happen, it could be. I would say it would be this guy. This guy's insane.
No,
he throws the ball like 1,000,000 miles an hour and far as hell. And he's just these guys to throw to, right? I'm with you, Eric. He's doing it.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
Well,
I'm really excited. It was a good night for the Bears.
Well, speaking of light shows, Oracle now has a light show, and during the media open house that I attended a couple of months ago, they kind of profiled a little bit of a video with DJ Umami, at the turntables with the lights going on. But it took a while for them to actually be able to use it, because number one, can't use it in day games, so only night games. Mm-hmm. And the Giants didn't hit their first home run until like last week when Soler finally hit
17-1 game. One run in the 17-1
That's right.
game.
It was early in that game, and that was the first time they used it legitimately, because they did use it when Nick Ahmed hit it off the top of the wall for a double.
Right.
A little premature celebration there. And they've had a little bit of a hiccup, because now they do it for Camilo Duvall when he comes out in a pressure situation. And the first time they did that, Camilo Duvall was still warming up in the bullpen, throwing his last pitch, and all of the lights went out at Oracle. And the poor bullpen catcher almost got his head taken off.
We were watching the game on TV, but we were at the bar, so we did the sound, and we were like, and it cut to commercial right after too. So all you saw was just Duvall about to throw a pitch, and then everything went dark, and then it cut to commercial, and we were like, did the bomb go off at the ballpark or something? Like, what just happened there? It was so confusing. I had no idea it was this light show thing, which, by the way, that's a funny way to speak. They're like, we can't spend money on this and that, and beer prices are going up, but also we have so many sick new lights, you guys. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's what we all needed. Thank you.
That's the biggest disappointment right there. The fact that they're spending their money on lights.
Well, they even promoted it, saying it was. They were trying to make it like the NBA experience in an indoor arena, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good thing. You're like promoting it like that's a good thing.
Were we asking for that? I don't remember.
Did
I
we
don't remember
this?
No.
I can't remember the name of the bullpen catcher, but he did say he caught that pitch from Camilo Duvall. Had it been a pitch from, say, a Tyler Rogers, chances are he would have lost a piece of his body because there's no way he would have caught that pitch.
Oh yeah,
But
he wouldn't know where that was going. Yeah.
Right, but Camilo hit the target, so thankfully he caught it.
Well, he said it was a 4-seamer. And so if he threw a slider or 2-seamer, he's like, yeah, I would have died. I would have been dead.
Oh,
he's like, we would be having a much different conversation right now is what he said.
Where were you when Camilo killed a man?
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's all become a joke and it's all lighthearted. It's one of those like, thank God nothing happened. Larry Bear was on KMBR the other day and they asked him about it. They said, so you cleaning up your little media department here, making sure that they don't turn off the lights when the pitcher is still throwing a freaking ball? And yeah, Larry Bear's like, yeah, though there's been some discussions, definitely some apologies, and we're ironing that out. Everyone's good though, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it's just really funny because it's one of those things like it doesn't affect me. I don't care if they do the light show or not. I see a lot of people online, get off my lawn kind of thing. But, all I can say about it is if it generates excitement for the younger generation, fine. But the thing is, it doesn't translate on TV, right? I'm sure in the park, because I haven't seen it yet in person. It probably is, you're a little younger, maybe had a couple drinks, you get a little adrenaline flowing, okay, fine. Maybe it pumps you up a little bit. But on TV, you're not sitting there going, yeah. I mean, they, like you said, Willie, they even cut the commercials. So, like, what's the point? How is this drawing in
By the way,
anyone?
When I was young and at the ballpark, you didn't need light shows for me to be pumped. I was pretty pumped already, man. I a few beers in me and some friends around
like
me.
Smoke on the Water for Rob Nen or El Machon for Sergio, right? You had
what was the A's guy who had Metallica play when he came out and everybody lost their freaking minds and then it just turned into a movement, but it was very organic.
Yeah.
Billy Koch?
No. This is pretty recent. The fans got super into it. He was the Rage guy. Remember? Because he used to
Doolittle?
He used to rage. Okay. No. Hold on. But by the way, the A's guy right now is insane. Have you guys watched his closer?
No.
Balfour. Trent Balfour.
Okay. Yeah.
Grant.
Balfour Rage. Grant Balfour. Thank you. Grant Balfour. Yes. Balfour Rage. You guys don't remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Go on YouTube and watch Balfour Rage highlights because it is hilarious. Like the entire outfield bleachers just head banging.
I totally remember that.
Yeah.
I can picture the whole section in unison.
Yeah.
But you have
It was
Enter Sandman and Hoffman. Yeah, those are cool, because it's just music and the crowd getting into it and all that. But it's like, do we really need the spotlights and the orange glow and whatever? It's fine. It's like,
the ball coming out is cool.
Kills it, but the umpire kills it because he's jogging out to the orange lights with the spotlight, and then he has to stop at second base.
The umpire
look at his hands.
Oh yeah,
stop and check out his hands. Yeah.
Oh, it's classic, man.
Now, when Sergio Romo used to come out and they play that Latin song, that was fucking awesome. I was really into that. By the way, Sergio Romo's on the broadcast team now.
They just added him this past week.
Yeah.
No.
That's very cool. He's doing a pretty good job. I could tell he's a little raw and nervous already.
Sure.
But he'll get over that. He's a personality though, so
that's what I like about him. He kind of seems like a regular guy. You know what I mean? He's not like super polished. So that's why I don't know. I think that's the attraction to him. It's like he's just like, hey man, I'm just talking baseball. I'm just like a dude from the street who knows baseball. Whatever.
Yeah.
I like about him.
I do think there's something to be said about that for broadcasters because I've seen a lot of these guys recently too, where they went to school for it, and then it sucks. They're not interesting. And I went to school with some of these people. I'm like, you're probably gonna do great.
Yeah,
but I'm not
that
gonna
Carlos
like you.
guy. Forgetting his last name, Carlos, whoever on the post.
Everybody hates him. I know. Everybody
hates
that guy.
Stand him.
I know.
He is.
Now I will say he's better when he's hosting and not trying to be an analyst because he clearly is not an analyst. But yeah, he's one of those guys. You're like, you just dry. You're annoying. You came out of a box.
Yeah.
Like you're not a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I get it at a certain point, and I've studied broadcasting. I've worked on things. I understand the skill behind it that it takes to do what some of these guys do. But there is a level of personality you must hold on to. And that's why a guy like Gary Radnich is so beloved in the Bay Area, right? Is he had the personality. So these polished broadcasters. I don't know. We've had enough of those guys. There's too many of those guys. Give us more Sergio Ramos, Hunter Pences. These are my guys.
All right, well, that's going to do it, unfortunately. I know you joined a little late there, Willie. I got a meeting to attend to, so I gotta wrap this up here. But, God, this is episode 299, boys. Next one is the big 300. Like I said at the top of the show, I will be gone on an offshore expedition, so I think our next podcast is going to be in a couple of weeks. But we'll have a little bit to save up for a big 300, so we'll do a little...
There you go.
Yeah, we'll celebrate by talking about it. Nothing else planned unless you guys don't want something. But anyway, wow, 300 episodes, dude. That's crazy.
We'll think about it. We'll spitball and maybe come up with something. It's funny. I remember when the Instance did episode 300. That was like the biggest one that we ever did. And then when we got to like 400. And then 500, we were just like, I don't know. Do we do this every time?
That's what I said to Eric already.
Exactly.
I was like, well, I had all these plans to get player quotes and everything. And you know what happened with that situation. So kind of took the wind out of the sails.
Maybe we can get Gerard Butler, Lena Headey, Dominic West. If we can get somebody from the cast of 300 to appear on our 300.
There you go. All right.
That's the way we should try to do this. So I'll contact Gerard Butler's people.
Sweet.
Yeah, let's play it like a meme instead of, let's just have fun with it. Enjoy it, celebrate something that doesn't happen to a lot of podcasts. You know what I mean?
No, this is
a lot of podcasts don't make it this far.
Yeah. They say, 95% of businesses fail. I'd say 99% of podcasts don't even get to 100 or 200 episodes, let alone 300. So, yeah, not bad.
No.
All right, well, that'll do it for episode 299. You can follow us collectively at TortureCast on Twitter, individually, myself at ChadK21, Eric at 2outhits with the number 2. You can like us on Facebook. Check out our site, torturecast.com, where we post everything. You can also email us at torturecast@gmail.com. Now, Eric, you've still got some Giants chatter stuff going on. I always tune in once in a while when you guys are streaming live. They're even doing some kind of game reactions I've been seeing lately.
Yeah, we're doing game watch parties now where we just kind of hang out and watch the game and people can jump in the comments and react. We had a pretty good turnout. We've done 2 of them so far, and it's a rotating cast. Like the first night it was me, Brooks, and Chris Corbett. The second time it was like Doug, Rob, and Brooks. Apparently Brooks is the common denominator. So that's just something new. So Giants Chatter, Facebook. And it's also tweeted out on our Twitter, which is where we're getting a lot of viewership from. So if you follow Giants Chatter on Twitter, you'll see that as well.
Awesome. Willie, what you got going on these days?
Not a lot, man. I'm just hanging. Watching a lot of Giants baseball though. I recently fixed my issue of not having a way to watch it consistently at the house. So I haven't really missed a game this year.
That's awesome.
I know it's been good. I gotta say, when I lived in Austin, it was hard to keep up day to day. You know what I mean? And now that I've been back for a little bit, I think there's just excitement about this team just because Jung-Hoo Lee's brought a lot of excitement. There's been some of the younger players are, in my opinion, very exciting to watch. And I've just been watching a lot of Giants baseball. And I'm working on, this is the project in the backyard. Once this is done, maybe there'll be some content around this. We're putting a putting green into our backyard. I got the go-ahead. From Mom that she actually she supports the idea. She's into it. So I'm learning as I go, but it's going to happen and it's going to be very cool.
When we renovated our backyard 3 years ago, I submitted, let's put in a golf green or putting green. And my wife did not approve of that.
Vetoed that one, huh? Yeah.
She was
now,
like, no.
I sold it also as not just for me, it's for everybody. Think about how nice of a surface it's going to be for when we want to use it for things. You know what I mean? And low maintenance because it's fake turf.
Don't need to water.
So you don't even have to. You know what I mean? You just have to vacuum it every now and then.
Yeah.
I can't get this image of Willie as Carl Spackler out of my head now.
Yeah, that's me, baby.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for it because not only is it it's going to be fun when it's done, but also it's just a fun little project and I'm learning a lot. as
Well,
I
now-
go.
Not
Because
something you do every day.
Well, now you're gonna shave
yeah.
3 strokes off of your handicap too. So there you go.
Oh, dude, I am coming for all the MGA titles now. Yeah, but so we were at the Home Depot talking to a guy about things that I need, and there's things I had no idea I was gonna need. A weed barrier. I
Yeah,
didn't know about those.
drainage, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Water has to be able to get through it,
Yep.
but weeds can't grow up. So it's a whole thing, man. But I'll keep you guys posted on progress as we go. I'm sure it's gonna be slow going for a while, but we'll see.
Cool,
But boys,
man.
it was fun coming back on and being able to come, even though I was a little bit late. Thank you for working with me.
Yeah, of course, man. No, OG Willie. All right, well, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks for episode 300. Until then, take care, stay safe, and go Giants. Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.